Today, I'll be showing you an action horror movie from 2019 called Escape Room. There will be spoilers ahead. The movie starts with a man in a panic as he crashes through a ceiling grate and lands in an old-style study room. His name is Ben. He spots a door with a strange puzzle on the wall next to it. The puzzle has 4 numbers that need to be moved into the right order to open the door. As Ben slides one of the numbers, the wall across from the door starts moving toward him, smashing everything in its way. He quickly looks around the room for any clues that might help. He keeps adjusting the numbers, trying to solve the puzzle, but the wall keeps closing in. In the struggle, Ben gets stuck between the 2 walls, and a sharp rod stabs him in the leg. The scene then jumps back to 3 days earlier, in Chicago. Zoey is sitting in a college lecture room. Her professor asks a question, and even though she knows the answer, she stays quiet because she's shy. After the class ends, the professor speaks to her privately. He tells her she needs to be more confident and encourages her to do something outside of her comfort zone during the Thanksgiving break. Later, Zoey is back in her dorm room. She doesn't go to the dorm party and prefers to stay in. The next morning, just as her roommate is heading out for the holiday, they find a package at their door. The package is addressed to Zoey. Inside, she finds a note from her professor and a small black puzzle box. Jason is a successful stock trader who gets a call from a happy client. The client is so thankful, he offers Jason a vacation to Fiji. Later, Jason receives a note from the same client, along with a black puzzle box, just like the one Zoey got. Ben works at a grocery store stocking shelves. He asks for a promotion to become a cashier, but his boss turns him down, saying it wouldn't be good for the store. As the boss walks away, he notices Ben's flask and tells him to stop drinking and try to make some friends. Ben looks hurt, and his boss says sorry before leaving. The next day, Ben shows up for work and finds a note from his boss on his station. With it is a black puzzle box. Zoey, Jason, and Ben all manage to open their puzzle boxes in different ways. Zoey solves hers by thinking it through carefully. Jason watches a YouTube video to figure his out. Ben, on the other hand, accidentally opens his after trying to break it with a hammer. Inside each box is a card inviting them to the Minos Escape Room. The card says the first person to escape the room will win $10,000. Ben is outside the Minos building smoking when Amanda shows up. She goes inside, checks in with the security guard, and is asked to hand over her phone so she can't take photos of the room. As she heads to the elevator, the guard thanks her for her service, which makes Amanda look uneasy. Danny enters the elevator with Amanda. They both arrive in a waiting room where Jason, Zoey, and Mike are already sitting. Soon, Ben walks in and joins them. Everyone starts talking while they wait. Danny shares that he's played over 90 escape rooms before. After waiting a while, Ben says he wants to step outside for a smoke. But when he tries to open the door, the handle snaps off. That's when Danny realizes they're already in the game. In place of the broken handle is now an oven dial. The group begins searching for clues. Amanda notices that all the magazines in the room were addressed to someone named Dr. Wootan Yu. Mike checks some books and finds a screwdriver hidden inside a copy of Fahrenheit 451. Zoey turns the oven dial to 451 degrees, and suddenly, heating panels in the room switch on, making the room hotter and hotter. Amanda starts feeling nervous and asks the person behind the frosted glass window for a clue. But Zoey figures out that the voice they keep hearing is just a recording, not a real person. Jason picks up a snow globe with a small sailboat inside. He stares at it for a moment, looking bothered, then sets it back down. Ben grabs a fire extinguisher from the wall, but instead of helping, it activates even more heating panels in the room. They find out the fire extinguisher isn't real. Zoey removes the pin from it and finds a small key hidden inside. She uses it to open the frosted glass window. Behind it is a mannequin holding a phone. The phone starts ringing, and Jason answers it. A recorded voice tells them to follow the rules. After Jason hangs up, even more heat panels turn on. The room gets hotter, and Amanda starts to panic. Zoey brings her a cup of water from the cooler to help her calm down. While doing that, Zoey notices a sign on the wall that says, "Use the coasters." She presses one of the coasters on the coffee table, and suddenly a painting on the wall shifts, revealing an air duct. Zoey realizes that all 6 coasters need to be pressed at the same time to keep the painting open. She, Danny, Ben, Amanda, and Mike press down on the coasters while Jason climbs into the air duct. He finds a grate that leads to the next room, but it's screwed shut. He asks for the screwdriver, and Mike joins him in the duct to help open it. Zoey tells Amanda to go next while she, Danny, and Ben keep the coasters down. Then Zoey comes up with a clever idea. If they fill glasses with water all the way to the top, they'll be heavy enough to hold down the coasters. Amanda begins to crawl through the duct, but suddenly freezes up. She remembers a terrifying moment from the past, crawling out of a military Humvee after it was hit by a bomb. Ben and Danny tell Zoey to go help Amanda while they work on filling the water glasses. Zoey helps calm Amanda, and they both move forward through the duct. Ben and Danny manage to fill only 5 glasses with water before the cooler runs dry. Amanda had already drunk 1 glass, so now they're short. Thinking fast, Ben takes out his flask and fills the sixth glass with the alcohol inside. With the coasters held down, Danny and Ben crawl through the duct. Behind them, the room catches fire and explodes. They barely make it through the grate into the next room just before the flames shoot through the duct. Now all 6 of them are in a new room that looks like a log cabin. Most of them believe the game is real now, except Danny, who complains about being stuck with what he calls 5 boring people. Jason takes out the same key he used earlier and opens one of the locks on the front door. But there's still one more lock left, and this one needs a 7-letter word to open. Mike spots a quote written on the wall that says, "You'll go down in history." Zoey starts guessing U.S. presidents with last names that have 7 letters, but none of the names work on the lock. Then Ben notices something. There are 9 deer antlers mounted on the wall, and each one has a letter underneath. This triggers a memory for Ben. He remembers driving at night with his friends. They were all drunk, singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer loudly, when Ben crashed their car straight into another one. Looking at the letters under the antlers again, Ben realizes they are the first letters of Santa's reindeer names. He tells the group to try Rudolph as the password. It works. The lock clicks open. They step out of the cabin, and the door locks behind them. Now, they find themselves in a snowy area where the ground is covered in ice. A nearby thermometer shows it's 30 degrees, and Zoey notices the temperature is dropping. It looks like they're outside, but Danny walks away from the cabin and bumps into something invisible. It turns out there are walls covered with high-tech screens to make it look like they're in the open. The group begins searching the area. Jason finds a locked door in one of the fake walls. Amanda spots a small boat with a red jacket inside. Zoey sees something carved on the side of the boat that says, "True North is a lie." Jason seems uneasy when he sees the red jacket, and Amanda suggests they take turns wearing it to stay warm, starting with Zoey. Mike finds a fishing rod hanging from a tree. Ben accidentally steps into a hole in the ice and discovers it's a fishing hole. While most of them use the rod to test how deep the hole is, Zoey walks around with a compass. She notices the compass acting strangely near a stuffed polar bear. Curious, she reaches into the bear's mouth and pulls out a magnet. She returns to the group, and Jason quickly says it's his turn to wear the jacket and takes it from her. Meanwhile, Ben steps away to smoke. Mike connects the magnet to the fishing line and lowers it into the hole. When he pulls it back up, there's a metal frame with a large block of ice attached, and inside the ice is a key. The ice is too hard to break, so Danny asks Ben for his lighter. Ben tosses it partway across, and Danny walks over to pick it up. As he steps forward, the ice under him cracks, and he suddenly falls into the freezing water. The rest of the group rushes around, trying to find where he went. Amanda wants to jump in to save him, but Mike stops her, warning that with the strong current, she wouldn't make it back up even if she found him. Sadly, Danny disappears beneath the ice and drowns. Jason warns everyone that if they don't work together to melt the ice, they could freeze to death. As the cold gets worse, Jason remembers a painful memory. He sees himself sitting on the flipped-over bottom of a boat in freezing water. Next to him is another man wearing the same red jacket they found earlier. Back in the room, the group puts their hands on the frozen block together, trying to melt the ice with their body heat. Slowly, they manage to do it, even as the temperature drops below 0. Jason uses the key on the door, but it won't open. Just then, another door across the icy room unlocks and swings open. The group runs toward it. The ice cracks under their feet, but they move quickly and make it through before it breaks completely. They enter a new room that looks like a bar, but everything is upside down. Tables, chairs, even a pool table are all attached to the ceiling, which is about 20 feet high. Mike notices something strange. The number 8 ball is missing from the pool table. Suddenly, a phone on the pool table starts ringing. The receiver drops down just far enough for someone to grab it. When they answer, a voice says, "Watch your steps." Right after that, part of the floor falls away, revealing a long drop beneath them, about 15 stories down. Everyone quickly clings to the walls to stay safe. Amanda climbs up behind the bar and finds a safe. It needs a 4-digit code to open. At the same time, Zoey climbs up to a wall that has a sliding puzzle and starts working on it. The floor keeps collapsing, one section at a time. Jason climbs onto a platform next to a door, but it has no handle. Ben and Mike join Zoey on the puzzle frame to help, but their weight starts pulling it away from the wall. Zoey finally solves the puzzle. They realize the colors in the puzzle match certain billiard balls. They shout the 4-digit code to Amanda, and she enters it into the safe. Inside, she finds the missing 8 ball. It turns out this ball is the door handle they need. But now the puzzle frame is coming loose from the wall. With all of them on it, it can't hold their weight. Zoey slips and falls onto a lower piece of floor. She hits hard and is stunned. As she lies there, a memory flashes in her mind. She's inside an airplane that has crashed and flipped upside down. She looks up and sees her mother, still strapped into a seat, lifeless. Jason jumps down to help Zoey get onto the platform, and they both climb up just before the floor falls away. Ben and Mike also manage to get onto the platform safely. Amanda puts the 8-ball into her pocket and jumps from behind the bar onto the pool table. She uses her arms to pull herself across the edge until she's able to lift her legs up, but the 8-ball falls out of her pocket and starts rolling across the last piece of the floor. It gets close to the edge. Amanda quickly jumps down, grabs the ball, and throws it to Jason right before the floor crumbles beneath her. She grabs the phone cord that's hanging down and dangles from it. Ben tries to help by reaching out with a pool stick, but the cord snaps. Amanda falls and dies. Zoey is heartbroken. Ben tries to comfort her, while Jason moves ahead into the next room. This next room has 6 hospital cubicles. Each one looks exactly like a hospital room from a different time in their pasts. Zoey recognizes her room from when she survived a plane crash in Vietnam. Her mother died in that crash. Mike remembers surviving a mine collapse in West Virginia, where his brother died. Ben sees the room he was in after a drunk driving crash that killed all his friends. Jason recalls the boat accident where he and his friend were stuck in icy water. On the second day, Jason's friend swam off to find help, but never came back. Jason stayed and was rescued on the 3rd day. The group also finds files about Amanda and Danny. Amanda had survived a bomb explosion while serving in Iraq, and Danny was the only one left alive after a carbon monoxide leak took his family. They all realize the truth. The person who made these rooms knew everything about them. Zoey says they were chosen because they each survived something where everyone else died. The whole game seems to be a test to see who among the sole survivors would survive again. A TV in the room switches on, starting a 5-minute countdown. It shows a video of an open-heart surgery, and Zoey tells the others they shouldn't play the game anymore. She says whoever made this wants to watch them fight until only one is left. She begins smashing the security cameras in the room. Meanwhile, Jason, Mike, and Ben find a clue. They notice that some x-rays they found earlier spell out the word EKG in sign language. Jason finds an EKG machine and also spots some poison tanks that will release gas into the room when time runs out. Jason figures out they need to use the EKG machine to show a very high heart rate. Ben's heart rate isn't high enough, so Jason hooks the machine up to Mike instead. While Ben tries to calm Zoey down and convince her to help them, Jason quietly convinces Mike that they have to raise his heart rate fast, and that using the defibrillator might be the only way to do it. Jason shocks Mike with the defibrillator paddles, once, then a second time, until Mike's heart rate shoots up past 200. Suddenly, the monitor flatlines. Mike's heart has stopped. Ben rushes in and tries CPR, but it's no use. Mike is gone. Jason figures out the next step. The EKG machine also needs to read a very low heart rate to complete the puzzle. He connects the device to himself and focuses on slowing his heartbeat. After a moment, his heart rate drops below 50, and the door unlocks. With time almost up, the countdown ends and poisonous gas starts filling the room. Ben begs Zoey to come with him and Jason, but she refuses. She's still smashing every camera in the room. Zoey breaks the final camera, then collapses to the floor, twitching and foaming at the mouth. Jason and Ben step into the 5th room. Everything in it, the floors, walls, ceiling, even the furniture, is covered in a dizzying black and white checkered pattern. Ben lashes out at Jason for letting Mike die, accusing him of killing his own friend on the boat too. Jason coldly tells Ben he has no right to judge. Jason insists that survival is the only thing that matters. Ben walks away and finds a hatch in the floor. It's too heavy for him to lift alone, so Jason helps him. Together, they open it. But right after, they notice a strange substance on their hands from touching the hatch. Both of them begin hallucinating. A message beneath the hatch appears. The antidote is in the room. Ben finds a single syringe with the antidote, but there's only one dose. Jason attacks him, trying to take it. The two struggle as the room spins, the checkered floor tilting and turning beneath them. Ben fights back fiercely and finally slams Jason's head into the corner of a table. Jason falls to the ground, unmoving. He's dead. Ben injects himself with the antidote and climbs down through the hatch. He kicks his way through a vent in the floor and ends up in the very same shrinking room from the start of the movie. The walls close in on him fast. He's seconds from being crushed when he finds a gap behind the fireplace. He wedges himself into the space just in time. The walls slam shut, but the force breaks open the fireplace mantle, triggering a hidden mechanism. A door opens. Ben stumbles into a large room filled with monitors and computer equipment. A giant screen shows the 6 players' faces. 5 are crossed out. Only Ben's is still glowing. A man steps forward, introducing himself as the Gamemaster. He explains that the whole experience was a game designed to entertain a group of wealthy, powerful elites. Back in the hospital escape room, 2 workers in hazmat suits come in to collect what they think are the bodies of Zoey and Mike. But when they look around, they spot a breathing tube hanging from the ceiling. Suddenly, Zoey appears behind them. She knocks both workers out with an IV stand, grabs a gun, and escapes. Meanwhile, in the control room, Ben asks the Gamemaster if he can finally leave since he won. The Gamemaster calmly says yes, then suddenly pulls a wire around Ben's neck and starts choking him. Ben fights back, pulling a sharp piece of metal from his injured leg and stabbing the Gamemaster, forcing him to loosen the wire. But the Gamemaster pounces on Ben again, trying to finish the job. Just then, he notices something on the computer screen. An alert flashes. System override. The display showing the 6 original players changes to now show the Gamemaster, Ben, and Zoey as the new active players. Zoey arrives and shoots the Gamemaster but doesn't kill him. He runs and hides behind a stack of crates. While Zoey tries to wake Ben up, the Gamemaster attacks her from behind and manages to grab the gun. Just before he can fire, Ben grabs a glass container and smashes it over the Gamemaster's head. Ben picks up the gun and shoots him, killing him. The screen changes once more. This time, the Gamemaster's face is crossed out. They leave the building and head straight to the hospital to treat Ben's wounds. While Ben recovers, the police take Zoey to the location of the Minos building. But when they arrive, the place looks completely abandoned. Zoey tells the officers about everything that happened, but they say there's no evidence. When she tells them Ben can confirm her story, they respond that his blood work came back positive for several drugs, so his testimony isn't reliable. As they're leaving, Zoey notices graffiti on the wall that reads, "No way out." Her eyes widen as she realizes it's an anagram for Dr. Wootan Yu, a name that kept showing up during the games. She tells the officers, but they brush it off. 6 months later, Zoey and Ben meet at a quiet cafe. Ben looks much better. Zoey, however, hasn't let go of what happened. She opens a binder full of notes and photos she's been collecting. According to public records, Danny supposedly drowned in Lake Michigan, Amanda died in a solo rock climbing accident, Jason was killed in a motorcycle crash, and Mike's death was also rewritten. Though Zoey's still not sure what exact story they used for him. Everything has been cleaned up by Minos to erase the truth. Zoey also discovered a hidden set of coordinates encoded in the Minos logo. They point to a location in New York City that she believes is Minos's real headquarters. She tells Ben she's planning to fly there in 2 weeks to expose them and bring them down. Ben, after a moment, agrees to go with her. Suddenly, the film cuts to a dramatic scene. A plane is in serious trouble, one engine on fire. Flight attendants rush down the aisle searching for clues to access the locked cockpit. They manage to break in, but it's too late. The plane crashes into the ground. Then, the camera pulls back to reveal the shocking truth. The plane isn't real. It's sitting inside a giant warehouse, and the people on board are all Minos employees, running a test for their next escape room. On a large screen, a shadowy figure appears. He asks one of the workers what the survival odds are for this new scenario. The worker replies that it's only about 4%. The figure, calm and sinister, says that's too low. It's not fun unless there's a real chance of survival. Then he says something chilling. He's already got the flight details for Zoey and Ben. This new escape room must be ready in time for their trip. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this recap, and subscribe for more movie breakdowns and recaps. Let us know in the comments what you thought about Escape Room and which twist shocked you the most. Until next time, keep your escape rooms safe.